be looking at, before I talk about today's one, last week, I don't know how many of you were here last week, but we had so much fun last week. We spoke about not my spec. And if you missed that, please, I want to beg you, go watch the video. It's hosted right there on our handle. Okay, the Single and Ready Club Instagram handle, or Single and Ready Club on Mixler. Mixler is where we stream the audio. Okay, so you can go there and watch the content or listen to it via the audio. Okay, it was very interesting. Okay, and we try to establish that, man, when we speak about specification, you need to be more concerned about the intangibles and about the invisible qualities as against the obviously natural and physical qualities. And there was an analogy our resource person used. She said, if you want to get on the journey and you see a vehicle, maybe you're using a public transport system, and outwardly the vehicle looks really beautiful, but when you get in there, you discover that the engine is not working, the legs are wobbly, you know, the noise from the vehicle is smoky all inside, you'll be terribly uncomfortable. Okay, and now that vehicle, meanwhile, from outside was looking really new and beautiful, and you thought, oh, this is the ride I want to take. But when you got on that journey, you started discovering other things that you did not see from outside while the vehicle was stationary. For many people, that's what their relationships are like. You see this person from outside and you say, oh, he looks so good, or she looks so good. Oh, wow, externally, this is exactly what I want. Now, because you don't take time to find out what the other qualities that don't readily meet the eyes look like, you jump in that train, you jump in that ship, and later down the line, oh my, it is nothing like what you wanted, and you feel so bad. Now, the truth is, when you listen to sessions like this and you participate in these kind of meetings, you build capacity, you gain wisdom, and guess what? You're able to know what exactly to look out for, and then you're able to identify original from fake. All right, and you're able to identify those who should just be passers-by in your life and those who can qualify for a close friendship, talk more of a relationship that will lead to marriage. Okay, so that said, that was for last week. This week, we're going to be talking about how you can become a person of value. I mean, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. You know, so if you're talking about husband material, you know, you hear people say stuff like, how many yards? Okay, they say, I have a very good wife material, 100 yards. You know, trying to say that, oh, this one is very, very good material, all right? So now we're going to talk about those yards. What qualities make for those yards? And we're just going to direct the conversation to how you can become a person of value. And to deliver this, I have a very dear friend who's also a family life practitioner, great guy, passionate about teaching people about parenting, about chastity and purity, and about relationships and love and marriage generally. Okay, I'll be bringing him on in a moment. Coach Abibo, if you're ready, you can just click on the plus sign so that you can come into my room, and then I'll bring you in. Okay, so he's ready, he's loaded, and I mean, you're gonna enjoy this session. I want to prepare your mind because, you know, he's someone who says things that sometimes, yeah, he's ready now. Sometimes you might wonder, like, whoa, this is challenging conventional wisdom, but you need to listen because it will do you good. So without any further ado, I'll be bringing in my dear friend and brother, Abibo. Very soon you'll see him here, and the conversation will begin. Hey, brother. So good to see you, man.
I appreciate you, sir.
God bless you, bro. Wow. Good to see you. How's everything?
Well, good, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the good works you do, sir.
You're welcome. We're excited to do what we do. Okay, so today we'll be talking about how to become a person of value. You know, and you know, when you ask people, yeah, thank you. Please make him welcome. People, you can type welcome. Just make him welcome. So when you hear people, when you ask people what kind of person they want to know, you know, they have all kinds of lists and expectations. But then the question we ask people is, do you possess the kind of qualities you want in a spouse? All right. Sometimes people, can you marry you? You know, can you marry you? And that just goes to speak to the quality of person that they are. So now, when you heard this topic of becoming a quality person, how to become a person of value, you know, I wanted to just share a few of the thoughts, and then we'll take up the gist from there.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair Mayzy. It's a nice time being here. In fact, I was going through your previous sections last week. It was super. I saw, is it Mary Okoro? Oh, awesome section. And then thank you. You know, first of all, I appreciate everyone who is in this platform listening and learning, because Mayzy is a rare leader, one who actually is open and sincere to teach the truth and help your relationship and marriage. In fact, before I got married, we had a section together in his room when he came into Port Harcourt. It shaped my mind. It helped my marriage. So
awesome.
You're listening, I can tell you it's a privilege. Being a privilege in the sense that value is relative. Some people's value are based on their level of exposure. Their lack of purpose, purpose can actually create a system of value for them. Lack of vision actually create a system of value for them. So if a person's purpose is to become a shoemaker, and his shoemaking is not to become a kind of shoe like Nike or whatever, his values will be limited. So your values are determined by, first, your revelation of you. Next, your purpose. Third, because revelation of you is identity. Next, your purpose. Third, your vision. Fourth, your commitment to your life. So when we talk about the person of value, it does not start as an external factor. It starts as an external factor, because value is eternal and then it's internal. Eternal because God is the definition of value. Then internal because it's placed inside of you. Now let me use a little scripture before I pause and then you continue. When you look at Adam, first of all, is human, mankind. Mary Okoro dealt with that the last time, so I don't want to go there again, all right? Now, when you look at Adam, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, it said, and God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and dominate. It tells you that your value is in the blessedness of God. Your value is in your relationship with God. Your value is in your connection with God. So in Adam, that is human, you have fruitfulness within, multiplication within, replenishing within, subduing within, dominating within. Your value is within you. It takes training. It takes consistent commitment to the trainings and revelation to bring out your value. So whether a husband material, a wife material, you are first human, and your value is in your relationship with God. And that relationship is what makes you find you and become you. Then you can become a person of value. Let me also say this. Value is eternal. So if you don't find you, you have no relevance to your society, because your value is who you are, not what you do.
This is too hot. Wow, this is so hot. Thank you so much. I mean, you mentioned a number of things, value, you said the revelation of you know, and then the purpose, vision, commitment to your life, you know, and then you said it is internal, then internal. I mean, the explanation just strikes it at the head. Okay, thank you so much for that. Wow. You know, how can a young man now who is saying, okay, well, I mean, I like this, what you say, where do I start from? How do I start improving my life?
How can a young man start?
You know, how can a young man start, you know, improving his life, or like getting that revelation of who he is? Oh, I think there's a network thing there. Okay, there was a network break. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so you spoke about revelation of you, purpose, vision, commitment. Okay, where can a typical young man start in developing himself?
Let me frankly say this. I'm not trying to sound religious because I am not a religious person. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. Finding you, it's in your relationship with God. You can't know you until you first build a relationship with God. Because that's where you are. That's
where you started from.
A product trying to find itself in himself rather than finding his uniqueness in his producer. You are wasting. I've tried it before, it didn't work. At best, what will happen is if you try to find you in you, what's best is going to happen is you would think you are your potential without knowing your purpose. That's what happened a lot. So potential is to help fulfill purpose, and that's what makes you valuable. You see a lot of people who are living by their potential without understanding God's purpose for their life. They become a disaster to our society, so they are popularly useless. So you see somebody like, let me say somebody like Portable. You see, he's using his potential, but he's popularly useless for all I care, because he's not adding to the final realities of God's plan for humanity. But guess what? He still has audience. He has followers. Everybody will have followers, whether stupid or wise, because for stupid people, they have a higher level of stupidity that the foolish people will always follow them. So you need to understand this. So finding value is first having a personal relationship with God. That's what I would tell you. See, if you don't have that thing, all you can do is shadow. And the worst part is this: trying to live by shadows rather than living by the reality, because it is your person that defines shadow. You know, if you see your shadow before, sometimes your shadow is so big and long, you think you are that big. That's deception. By the time you try to define yourself by your shadow, you miss it. So finding you, I would say, so that we use our time well, is to first of all build a relationship with God. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And we cannot overemphasize this point, because when you tell people that you can only find you in your maker, they think you're trying to pursue God. But no, I mean, in the creation story, you see, when God wanted to make the food, he spoke to the water. Yeah. When he was going to make the plants, he spoke to the land. When he was going to make the animals, he spoke to land. Everything came out of his own habitat.
Yeah.
But when he was going to make man, he spoke to himself and went within, and from himself brought out man. And even after forming man physically, the Bible says that he breathed into man the breath of life. Before man became a living soul. So people need to understand that your source is God. Your source is God. You cannot run away from your source. And you can only start living life when you identify with your source. And then you begin to understand why he brought you here and what he wants you to do. Like you said, about purpose. Thank you so much for that fantastic background. All right. Now, when you pick a young lady, what kind of man you want to marry, one of the first things you hear is he must be God-fearing. Well, I want you to say something about that. What are the kind of qualities that a young man can do? What do you have to say about the God-fearing quality?
When people talk about God-fearing, sometimes I ask myself, what do you say is God-fearing? So I would say, some people see a God-fearing man as a man who always comes to church, who is always attending a morning devotion or fellowship in church, is a choir leader, or he dresses religious, quote and unquote. He dresses like a believer. And then the guy is always committed to praying. He does not miss fasting. He does not miss this thing. And then the guy is always speaking in tongues. And then they say, and then he's walking like one sanctimonious person. I say, oh, this guy is God-fearing. They're not seeing women around him. He's God-fearing. Excuse me. A pretentious person and a religious person can look God-fearing, but is not God-fearing. A God-fearing person is one who is living in God's will for his life. One who is producing godly results on earth. One who understands God's mindset for the globe and for nations and generations. One who understands the world system. Because when we talk about God-fearing, a lot of people just look at it as one in the confine of a religious body. No, sir. No, sir. I can know that they are not born again, but they have learned the skill of fearing God or God-fearing because they said. So a God-fearing person, first man, should be one who has a personal relationship with God. Two, who has characters or the values of Christ in him. Three, one who is producing results on earth. His life, his vision, his ideas are things that can solve problems and make mankind better. It's not one who is just there praying, hoping. No, hope is not a God-fearing skill. It is that comes with work. So the question is, who taught you about God-fearing men? Who is the example of a God-fearing man? What are the results of a God-fearing man? When you put the picture of Christ, the person of Christ, not the power of Christ, now the person of Christ, and then the principles of Christ, put it together. Ask yourself, does this fit into a God-fearing man? Because too many people are religious fearing and not God fearing. And that's the truth. I was religious fearing. I was religious fearing. That even when I sin by religion, I become pretentious. A God fearing man who in your friendship can come and tell you he fornicated. He's not approving of fornication, just plain to you. It's God fearing. A God fearing man is a man with mistake.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Keeping it real, yeah.
Yes, because I understand that. In fact, let me say this. Peter was a God-fearing man. He made mistake. Yes. In fact, I used to say that the prodigal son is a God-fearing man. He made mistake. He learned from his mistake. And he came to the father. Just that in his God-fearing, he was afraid of God. Because he came to become a slave rather than understanding sonship. So let me not go far, but I said it as one who is authentic on the will and mind of God and follows the principles and the person of Christ is the God-fearing person.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, when we were gisting earlier, there were like 7 qualities you explained, you know, that one can develop or seek to develop in becoming the person of value. Can you run through those, you know?
Okay, so there are basically 7. If we have the time, I'll teach about the 7. If we don't have the time, I'll do as much as I can. And that time, I have the opportunity, will call. The first place is spiritual development.
That's right.
Material, wife material. Please listen. Listen.
Yes.
There is no husband without God. There is no wife without God. Life began with God. And for anybody to qualify into becoming a husband, he must first become relationship with God, because God is the institutor of marriage and relationship. So you cannot understand relationship without first building relationship with God. First of all, I tell you that you can't love until you have received the love of the Father. It says, beloved, let us love one another. For love is of God, and anyone that loves is born of God and knows God. It means that God is love, and for you to understand love, you must first of all understand God. Now, you can express erotic, filial, but you still don't understand agape. And agape is the foundation for every successful marriage, not filial. Right. Many breakups, many divorce have manifested, they still have filial and they still had erotic system. What they lack of understanding agape. So your relationship with God is too important for you to be a husband or a wife. You must first personal relationship. You see, we are emphasizing, TMS is emphasizing, personal relationship with God is core and is the essence of your life. Lack of it is lack of destiny. If I stop wasting you until you find you, how do you find your relationship with God? Your relationship with God is the key. So spiritual development is a functional system that makes you qualify for a husband or a wife. It's a functional system. So until you consistently grow in your spiritual life, then you are not ready to become a husband or a wife material. That's the first thing. The second thing is mental and emotional development. But can I also say this to you? That until you first have a spiritual development, you cannot discern mental and emotional development. You have to develop mentally. You have to develop. How do you develop mentally? The kind of books you read, the kind of association, the kind of friendship, the kind of connection, mental and emotional development. I always say this to people. I said there are 3 people you need in your life for you to grow. You need mentors, you need mates, and you need mentees. You see, these things to develop. Write this down because it's very critical. I have found that those who stand out have these 3 persons. We have mentors, we have mates, we have mentees. I can say sometimes, Mayzy acts like a mentor and a mate to me, but he's not my mentee. But we need this connection to be able to stand out in life. So mental development is your ability to think not common. Think right. You can't think right until you understand spiritual rightness. Let me say this. Because what could be right for somebody who lacks a relationship with God cannot be right for you who has understanding of relationship with God. And right is relative. Right is relative. And then emotional intelligence. I say this, when you look at the fruit of the spirit, it is emotional intelligence. Please, before you start dating, understand the fruit of the spirit, because that thing is emotional and mental intelligence. I tell people for free, God gave us that for the operation of earth, not to go to heaven. You can be heavenly and earthly useless. Don't be too spiritual that you're useless for your society. Don't be too spiritual that you're useless for your environment. The fruit of the spirit, go back and study it. It is necessary, is an emotional and mental factor. Yes, sir, go ahead before I continue. You want to say something?
I mean, you so nailed it, because when I speak about emotional maturity many times, I tell people that if you can understand what the Bible describes as the fruit of the spirit and live it, that is the height of maturity.
Yeah.
That is the height of emotional maturity. It's not about how people pray in tongues or all the rest of spiritual activities they do. You see? But we live in a time where people tend to be carried away by the theatrics and all the outward show, and they don't know what exactly they should be looking out for. But you see everything that the Bible explains as the fruit of the spirit: love, joy, peace, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. You have all of those things listed out there in Galatians 3. Anyone who can internalize those things, like I tell people, you are on your path to emotional maturity, because doing that just makes you a lovable person.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And while we're saying that, let's continue by saying that a lot of people, when they talk about spiritual maturity, they are thinking of charisma. Let me say this. Charisma, if you call it that God has charisma, I will agree. The charismatism of God is sustained by his character, God. Let us make, first of all, our character, image, and likeness. Let us make. So God made charisma, but his making was tied to character, God. So let me explain it in this way. The fruit of the spirit are the character of God that he gave to us. The charisma manifestations of the spirits. Healing is a charisma. Word of knowledge is a charisma.
That's right.
The fruit of the spirit. The fruit of the spirit is what sustains the gift. If I give you a gift and I don't have a fruit that can be planted to reproduce a gift, then when the gift is finished, I am wasted.
You are wasted, yeah.
The spirit are the foundationals. So you see, emotional intelligence. Now we now talk about physical development. Physical development is living in health, taking care of your body. You see, I tell people that 3 girls strike me today. My wife, one of them, my wife was there when she went to do something. She was cutting me eye. I tell people that, please forgive me. God is not blind. Bible says God judges the heart. Humans judge the physical. To be qualified for a husband or wife, you should be attractive. You can't lose attraction. Attraction is a necessity. In fact, let me say this. You can remain a slave when you're not attractive. For kings are attracted to king and queen, and they have to be attractive. And that's the truth. If you're not attractive, why do you want to attract the anointing of God? Bible says that when Joseph needed to come out of the king's palace, he actually organized himself and shaved. If you are
Very
not
important.
attractive, you can only attract slaves. Because as long as I'm concerned, I met a lot of young ladies, but I found a beautiful quality wife. And let me say this, character attraction will always reflect in your physical attraction. Permit me to say,
Whoa! You can
permit
say
me
that
to
again.
you cannot have character attraction and don't have physical attraction. It's not possible. It's not. So because it will tell on how you carry yourself. And can I also say this, that your emotional maturity affects your physical realities? Because when you're emotional, you will know, okay, I need to exercise, I need to eat well, I need to look fit, I need to clean my hair. Look. You cannot destroy the anointing by either your body odor, your mouth odor, and you're expecting the glory of God to come up in your life. No. So you need physical attraction. The way you are dressed, the way you appear, the way you look, the way you speak, they are physical attractions. The way you walk. You cannot walk in like a boogie bounce, expecting a guy to feel like you're a lady. No, you need to understand that ladies have a way they walk. Now, this is relational too. I appreciate the fact that some of you want to walk like bouncers. You attract those kind of men who like bouncers. And some of them, they just want, and the truth is, they are attracted to your physical look, but they don't understand why. But let's not go there for today's class. So physical attraction is necessary. It's a lot for physical attraction because a lot of things are involved with it. Mayzy can talk about some of those things in the last section. But look, whether you like it or not, please be attractive.
Please be attractive.
Let the blind see you and say, look, let me say this to you. An average person should see you and say, I'm not qualified to ask you out, except by the help of the Holy Spirit. Let it be that attraction. When I saw my wife, I felt like I have to improve my skill and my competence to be able to ask her out. Because she was so attractive. She carried herself like a queen. And ladies, let me say this to you. Please don't dress like a slave, expecting to come to a king. Say, king shall come to your rising. So you have to rise in your attraction, in your beauty, in your fragrance, so that kings will look at it and say, oh, this is the kind of woman I want. Go and ask Esther. Esther did not come in her farm clothes. Stop wearing your farm clothes outside. You will not attract the right man. You only attract people that want to remove the clothes and use you and dump you. Kings will come to your rising. Rise in your physical appearance. Biko, please, rise in your physical appearance so that you can attract people that have risen. He has risen from the dead. You too, rise. Rise. Physical appearance. Physical. I tell people, I see sometimes the way they eat, and I ask, excuse me, why are you eating like this? Why are you eating? But let me not go there. You want to say something? Go ahead. Before I go to the next one, let me know. Oh, network.
Yeah, you see, so you see this point you're saying about attraction now. Somebody will go and say, but that's the reason why I'm wearing skimpy clothes as a girl, exposing my my cleavage. I'm trying to look sexy so guys can be attracted. Well, you said we should dress in an attractive way. What do you have to say about that thought?
Nudity is slavery.
Joy.
Let me say that the way it is in my heart. I have never seen a responsible and mature, emotionally intelligent man attracted to a nude person. Because if you're nude before you're attracted by the person, you'll be nude after marriage. You have not learned the character of decency. Then you're not approachable by responsible people.
Yeah. True. Unless they don't want you for anything serious.
Yes. In fact, I used to say, you have to be gorgeous. Let your beauty, internal and external, let it reflect the glory of your intelligence and the glory of God. In fact, let somebody see you and say, look, I want to be attractive. I want to dress neat. I want to be decent. When you open up your body, in fact, you are not presenting yourself as a living sacrifice again. Is a dead sacrifice unholy and unacceptable, which is on your reason for having sex. In fact, this is nudity is cheap. It means that all your nutrient has gone out. It's the chaff that is remaining you want to present to people. And it's only people that like chaff that will come after you. So please, it's about being attractive. It's not to show people your body. We'll not go to scriptures in this one. Let's leave it for another time. Let me focus. But you have to ask me this question and answer you. Don't forget. Don't forget. Don't forget. The people who actually expose their body, they lack identity. They have low self-esteem. By the time they identify their uniqueness, you see them clothe themselves. And check queens. They are covered. They are not only covered with the blood of Jesus. They are covered with garments. They are with things that makes them expensive. Those things are not. They don't open their cleavage and people begin to see their body. No. Wow. Thank you so much for putting that in man in your nakedness.
True. Yeah. And I think if people are true to themselves, they would attest that the kind of men who come after them when they dress in that way are people who just want to hit and run.
Yeah.
You're showing me your body. I want to have a taste of it and move on. But I don't want anything more serious with you because you have already presented yourself to me as somebody who is not to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I used to say this. When Bathsheba was naked, she attracted a man who lacked a sense of purpose and assignment, David. David was supposed to be in the field fighting.
True.
He left the field of assignment and saw her nakedness, and he chased after it. It's a simple thing. If he was in the battlefield fighting and she was naked, he would not focus on her. So when you are naked and a man is coming towards you, just know that that man lacks a sense of purpose and he's not in his place of assignment. Just know that the person you are bringing to you is a burden, not a blessing.
Wow.
He's going to kill the potentials and the values inside of you. Yes, you attracted him by your nakedness. That's how David killed Uriah.
Exactly.
Potential and value inside of you. It's going to kill your uniqueness. So cover your body. Let's go to friendship. Talking about relating with the opposite sex.
Yeah, so that's relational development, right?
Sorry, you said?
So are you talking about the next point? Like
yes,
relational?
Next point. Spiritual, mental and emotional, physical, then relational. Relational networking. It's about interacting. It's about connecting with the same sex and the opposite sex. How are you relating with people? First of all, I would always say, if you lack a sense of value and purpose and vision and what, the people you will relate with are in the line of purposelessness and visionlessness. So guess what? So you guys will flow and you will always attract the people with the same result.
Wow.
Yes.
That's so true.
It's very important. How do I choose my friends? First of all, who taught me about friendship? Who taught me about opposite sex? What did they teach me about opposite sex? Do I have an old wine in a new wine skin or a new wine in an old wine skin? How did we connect? If the way religious taught us about opposite sex is that once we get close to them, we have sinned.
Yes.
Able to deal with it, to know that we are only female and male because of our earthly responsibility. That by design, there is neither male or female. The second thing is that you need to understand that relating with an opposite sex, it comes from, first of all, what is the content of the mind?
True.
Abundance of the heart.
The mouth speaks.
The issues of life too. So how do I relate with an opposite sex? Another thing is, what are your upbringing, environmental factor, emotional experience? Who are the people that have mentored you? I often say to people, today we lack, quote and unquote, right, responsible mentorship in the media. Why? because what the media is showing about relationship with opposite sex is nudity, it's pornography, it's insanity, it is human trafficking, especially female trafficking. Because when they are singing a song and in the videos the guys are wearing clothes but the girls are only wearing pants and brazier, they are telling you that ladies are cheap. You can slap their buttocks with money and you go in for free. That spoils our definition of relating. So the opposite sex becomes a tool rather than a gift and a blessing. So relating with people, first of all, how did you even come to your career field? How did you come into industry? The people around your environment, what is your communicational system? What are the values that you bring to the table and they bring to the table? The thing that connects you guys together. It's too big to do in a class, but relationship and networking is key. You have to learn relationship. You have to learn networking. You have to develop those skills because they are necessary. In fact, let me say this. If you do not learn to relate with yourself, relating with people is even more difficult. And this is where I start by saying you must first date yourself and first relate with yourself to understand yourself enough for you to be qualified, to be tested, than to get into somebody else's life. Too many people who have not dated themselves have decided to date somebody else. And that's why we have too many heartbreak, break fast, break, whatever you call it, they break marriage, breakaholics everywhere. I've had break because I didn't know me. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't date myself. I have not built my character for relating. Because the way you relate could be different from, first of all, you know, our upbringing teaches us relationship. And some of the relationships are based on poverty. Some of the relationships, you know, lack of experience. Some of the relationships are stable relationship. Relationship, let me not go there. Man of God, you know. So this relationship, sometimes when you see some people who cannot do some things, like you tell them, pull off your shoes. And they say, no, I can't pull off my shoe. You call it pride. You cannot relate to the pride person. Excuse me. It is slavery that told us to pull off our shoe when we get to people's house. Yeah. And that thing had ended a lot of relationships. I knew a friend who the mother of the boy literally said the girl was too stubborn and the girl was not respectful for carrying her sandal walking into their house. And that was how the relationship was fought.
Maybe they have white rock or golden rock.
Yeah. You know. So when you talk about relationship, there are basic areas: relating with yourself, relating with the people in your immediate environment, relating with people in your external environment. On the media, I never met Mayzy until I met him. It was the media. And our new world, our new environment is not where we live. Everywhere we are, environment. The internet is a new environment. I'm talking with him, I'm with him.
That's right.
How do you relate? What is your value and your standpoint for relating? What are your standards for relating? Where did these standards come from? Before you now put it into dating, before you now put it into moving to marriage to become husband material. I can tell you for free, I'm sincere with you. This one I have to say. When I got married, for the first 1 month, it was relationship communication that was the challenge, a little of challenge. Not beliefs, basically. When you come to FSC, you understand some of the things. But it was that relationship communication. But as we began to relate better, I and my wife, we began to see, oh, this was the problem. So we created a system that works. And today I was at first month, second month, third month. We say, we are relating better now. We are communicating better. The challenges are no more. Because we have to build a system that works.
True.
So relating with people generally. How do you relate? What are you relating? So you have to build relational skills. Very necessary. Before you build relationship skills, build relational skills. Yes. Before you build dating relationship or married relationship skills, build friendship relational skills. That's what I want to say. All right.
Very key.
That's the fourth one. Then the fifth one is profession and career. This is very important. In fact, I'm dealing with people now who are struggling with choosing their career. And I say to them, don't be educated outside yourself. The first place of quality education is in self-discovery. If you have not found you, please, university is a waste of destiny. Let me say it again to you. Let me say it again to you.
Oh my. Go ahead, bro.
You know why I said it? Too many people have come out from the university, just became useless to themselves. At best, they are being employed. They're employed to get salary, to now have another level of accommodation, another level of welfare, a welfare that is tied to slavery mentality that is dealing with pension or gratuity. So when they retire, they become of their past, their present, and future. They don't have relevance to our society. First of all, they did not find themselves. Look, let me say this to you. If you're educated in your self-discovery, you would never retire.
True.
But if you're educated in your academic discovery, you will retire.
True.
You can move from a job. In fact, I used to say this. Your self-discovery creates work that makes you employed. So you are employed as a job, but you are deployed as a work. And that is your place of assignment. So too many people live an employed life and never become deployed. Because my system for employment is to help me build capacity and skill for my deployment. Organization is that have built capacity. So I learn the arts, I learn the skills in the organization, so that when I become deployed, I become more competent. But guess why people are employed? They are employed because that's their survival dimension. That's the society is having. At best, they grow up to become poor. They spend 40 years just to become poor. And then they now complain that their children are not taking care of them. Excuse me. It was not the responsibility of children. It is at will and honor. It is not a commission from God.
In fact,
so
what God said,
let me also take this way. Today, you are either creating your future poverty or wealth by first of all not knowing yourself to choose your career. I studied accounting in my first degree. It was my self-sabotaging system. I made a first class. But the truth is this, that when I was graduating, I realized that I was only fooling myself. As a first class student, I could not research more than what they have given to me in school. Let me say this. Anything that cannot keep you awake researching without being paid or being employed, that thing is not qualified to be your career or profession. Anything that does not, let me say this, career and profession is self-expression manifested in discoveries and realities. So if at best, you only do what you're told to do because you are employed, first of all, you're not educated. You only have certificates that qualify you for an employment. Education is first of all finding you and expressing you to help the world become better. One of the things I always ask people in my business system is, what problem can your education solve without your salary? Can your education be a deployment that can pay you without being employed? If not, my dear, you're useless to your society. In fact, you have wasted part of your destiny trying to find out who you should never be. Go and ask Joseph. Go and ask Daniel. They found themselves, and that's why they are relevant. Gideon was hiding. He was too intelligent in a place where he should not be until God called him that mighty man of valor. Moses was too intelligent in the place he should not be until he met the burning bush. He found himself. Jeremiah was too intelligent in stammering than becoming confused of himself until he encountered God. So find you. That's your area profession. I ask, search people and ask the wealthiest set of people in this world, what made them wealthy? They found their true self. And they were educated in their true self. So before you choose your career path, I want to be an accountant, a lawyer. Excuse me, my brother. Let's not go there. Then you will another class. Because of our time, I'm trying to maximize the time we have. Let me give you a minute so that we would not spend too much of time. But this is something that we can take 4 hours, 5 hours. If it's going to take time for us to get it. Number 6, financial intelligence. Mayzy today. Before I shared with him, I've shared with somebody, I said, a young lady who cannot take care of herself is not qualified to accept a dating relationship.
You can say that again.
A young lady who cannot actually take care of herself at her best level is not qualified to accept a dating relationship. If she accepts a dating relationship, she accepted it because of her lack of money and her ignorance of self-development. Financial intelligence is a core skill that everybody should learn. To become financially independent is not first having money. It's first having the right mindset of money.
Mindset,
It's very critical. I've had people who married men because the men work in Shell. And after marriage, the men lost their job. Practically. I had people who married because of money. I'll share a little story with you. I had this girl who I was dating, and the father said, look, the father is a big shot. The mom and the dad, they are expatriates, they are international staff who are paid in dollar. And the man said, I know you guys are dating. You can marry my daughter, but just impregnate her so that I'll be sure that I'll have a baby. And I said, no, that's how the relationship ended. They found somebody else who impregnated her. They had a baby. They married. After marriage, the baby died. This is 8 years of marriage without a child again.
Whoa.
But I don't want to digress. But this is an experience for talking about husband and wife, because purity is one my core. But let's talk about money. First of all, why are you getting into a relationship when you don't have money sense? Who is taking care of your financial responsibility? That's why I hear girls say guys are stingy. No. Sometimes guys are not stingy. You don't understand the difference between being stingy and being financially intelligent. Some guys are so financially intelligent that you that have excesses in your financial spending, you cannot manage it yourself. You want to make bone straight. Just go and straight up one bone and use it. Because if you cannot afford the bone straight on your own, and the guy has to show up in your life and you give him that responsibility, first of all, you're a liability and not an asset. Manage what you can afford.
True.
What you cannot afford, learn the skill to afford it. Do you understand? So that when the both of you come, two of you can synergize financially to build a quality financial independent family. Not a pressure being on one person and the other. You know, if, for instance, you have not started making money, but you are learning the skill that can create the money, sometimes, increase the level of the dating for a while. I didn't say make it too long until you have the sense that can convert it to money, because too many people learn skills for money, and once they get married, they throw away the skill. I am telling you because I've seen it, a man of God. I have seen it. Just you know, and it looks like, this one. No, I'm telling you. So
it's true.
Learn financial intelligence. Buy books on money. Study books on money. Learn sales management. Learn business. Learn the financial skills that create money today. Learn income. And at least have one or two. If you can't have two, have 1.5. Please, if your stream of income is your parents, that is not a stream of income. That is immaturity that is sponsored. Let me say it again. If your stream of income is your parents, it's not a stream of income. It's immaturity that is sponsored. It has a deadline.
Child.
And the worst part is, many ladies, once they get married, the parents now transfer that, immaturity sponsored to the husband. Then the husband begins to suffer it. Because the parents were giving her 100,000 per month, and she was living high. Now they have stopped giving her that money because they feel like a responsible man is attached to their responsible daughter. Now, the guy cannot afford 100,000 for her alone. Only her that time was 100,000, and now she's married. She feels like she has to increase her size and her level.
Of course.
What now happened? So that wife material, they have cut it, and the husband material, it has tear. So I would advise two of you to sit down and ask yourself, we are in this relationship together. Who are we financially? Where are we going? What is our system? Build a financial template, structure it, and begin to work on it. In fact, dating is the time you begin to know each other, both on finance. Ask questions. How you they make money? Waiting money. Waiting be the things where they make money loss for your hand. Because you can be broke. Because being broke is not the absence of money, it's the absence of financial intelligence. All right? You need to build money skills. And the last one, the family. 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 Before we married, we went to marriage school. After we married, we have taken, how many marriage courses have we taken, my wife? I don't know, but we are 3 months married. We are
You keep
taking
learning.
married courses because they gave us certificate to go to school. So many people correct marriage certificate and stop school because they think they went to school before marriage. It's a big fat lie.
Child,
Hey,
child.
marriage does not prepare you for husbandhood.
Hmm.
No. Marriage
True.
does not prepare you for being a wife. No.
True.
You prepare before it, then you grow your preparation and you grow your maturity of preparation. Before you got married, first of all, you must have become, quote and unquote, you must have learned the skill of becoming a husband. Now, marriage certifies you to manifest the skill and to improve the skill. So understanding family, which is the reason why FSC is one core criteria, family system engineering. I tell people
True.
that if I was married 5 years ago, I would have been useless to my generation
Can
because I didn't
imagine.
understand family. I just felt like, oh boy, na knack. We are believers, we are married, now sleep with her, born pikin, on a race pikin,
Yeah,
travel
that's
the
a
world,
good.
for them.
Mhm.
That is foolishness in advance, trying to manifest. But thank God for wisdom that cured it. So it is simple. Learn family. And you cannot learn family in marriage. First of all, how have you been dealing with your current family? Extended family, sometimes friendship family, the people that are your friends that have turned to family. How are you handling them? What is your
Yeah.
family plan? When you talk about family planning, please let me say this. I think the government made an error when you talk about family planning to basically future it about baby giving birth to a child. For me, that's not family planning. That's child
Mm-hmm.
control system. Family planning
True.
is planning your family, understanding where the family is going to, planning the future
Mm-hmm.
of this thing you call family that God has designed for. The other one is childbirth control system. So let me correct
True.
that. Adventure, because many times when they say family planning, I say these people have not
Just
planned their life.
better.
And if you have not planned your life as an individual, you don't know how to plan you. Hey, planning family becomes more difficult. So
Thank you for saying that.
learn this thing, plan you, plan your life, your business, your finances, you. Each person planning themselves, then coming together to learn to plan together. So learn family. If you don't learn family, my brother, you will give birth to a generation that's supposed to be a solution. You will be their first problem. And before you know it, you have raised problem in the society. Let me stop there so that if there are questions, we can be able to answer.
Oh my! No, the good thing is that next week is dedicated to wisdom.
Okay.
You know, yeah. So the whole session will just be Q and A next week. You know, but you have said a lot. Wow, thank you so much. I try to keep it within 1 hour, okay, because I know how difficult Instagram can be for some people.
Yeah.
And then it's not too long. At least one can replay it and watch it over and over again. You know, but I want to say you have dropped very, very solid points. Spiritual development, mental and emotional development, physical development, relational development, profession and career, financial intelligence, and family. You know, I took note of all these points, and I hope other people did too. Thank you so much, my brother. This has been so much. You know, at the beginning when I was introducing, I was saying it that people are speaking to, you know, and you did not, you didn't spare us anything. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you.
right. So by God's grace, next week we'll begin the Q&A and then we'll put a lot of issues. All right. Thank you so much, my brother. It's good to have you on this session today. All right. Please, if you enjoyed the session, just drop thank you in the comments. Just say thank you, Coach Abibo. You know, just say thank you and just put the love and just splash some love around. All right. So thank you so much, my brother. It was such a powerful time. Let me not start recapping. Someone says thank you so much, even though you shut our tables, Sha. But it's okay. Wow, yeah, thank you for sharing the love. Okay, so we'll have to end the session now. Please be with us again next week. We'll take Q&A, and God willing, Coach Abibo will be with us again to talk through the questions. See you guys again next week. Thank you so much for being here. Please comment on the post, share it, you know, and let's make valuable content go viral. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Have a beautiful evening. Bye for now.